Good evening and welcome to Newsfeed. Today is Tuesday, February 5th, 2019. I'm David Woodruff.
And I'm Caroline Parkinson. We're excited to have you here watching with us tonight. Let's see what's happening in Ann Arbor.
Last Wednesday and Thursday marked the third time in 40 years classes were canceled, and the first time in university history that there were two consecutive cancellations. With the negative 45-degree wind chill, the residual snow, and Governor Whitmer declaring a state of emergency, Provost Martin Filbert decided to cancel classes. Storm Jaden hit Ann Arbor hard with a negative 30-degree wind chill, and students and professors alike were able to enjoy the days off from classes.
Under a new university policy that became effective on February 1st, faculty, staff, student employees, volunteers, and visiting scholars charged with or convicted of a felony are required to inform the university within 1 week. The policy applies to those on Ann Arbor, Dearborn, Flint campuses, as well as in Michigan Medicine. Associate Vice President for Human Resources at the university, Loretta Thomas, said in an email statement that, quote, information about a faculty or staff member's criminal activity helps the university maintain a safe community and prevent putting people at risk of harm, end quote. Reported felonies include offenses such as first and second degree murder, child abuse, aggravated use of a weapon, criminal sexual misconduct, identity theft, and home invasion. A felony charge does not, however, disqualify an individual from employment, and once disclosed will be assessed by the Human Resources Department, similar to the background screening process. The statement also said, quote, this policy will help protect the university and our ability to deliver missions of teaching, research, and patient care, end quote.
On Monday, February 4th, President Schlissel sent out a university-wide email announcing the creation of a commission to reduce carbon emissions at all 3 of U of M's campuses. The following is a segment of the video statement issued by Schlissel describing the duties and responsibilities of the commission. This clip was sourced from the University of Michigan.
Commission members will engage broadly within the U of M community and with regional experts and partners. They will seek approaches and solutions on carbon emissions that create scalable and transferable models, not just for the university, but for the society we serve.
Schlissel described the importance of student, faculty, and community members' input at advisory panels in a, quote, fiscally responsible manner, end quote. Newsfeed reporters will continue to follow this story as the commission implements concrete policies and goals.
Now it's time for a short break. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
What if you could invest in the future of kids, like a stock? Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change. A whole new kind of investment called Better Futures. When you invest, it helps kids go to college. Believe in us, invest in us, watch us grow.
My name is Sydney, and I'm your dividend.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. And as soon as I start to make my breakfast, Hamilton is right there. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. I mean, look at this little face. How could you not love him?
Hey, I'm Tyler Perry. Do you know what hunger in America looks like? Well, it has many faces and 15 million of those belong to children. Yet billions of pounds of food go to waste each year, and this is unacceptable. You can be a part of the solution. Join us in supporting the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks, which rescues our surplus foods and provides meals to many families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org today. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
They said a bottle was just a bottle. That no one would ever notice me. But I knew I could be more. That one day, I would make people smile.
Oh, it's from the perspective of the bottle.
Yeah. Recycle. Welcome back to the show. You're watching Newsfeed. Let's get into our national news. The longest government shutdown in the history of the United States came to an end on Friday, January 25th. The shutdown lasted a total of 35 days. President Trump ended the shutdown by signing a bill to reopen the government until February 15th for a total of 3 weeks. Trump stated that he, quote, will ensure that all employees receive their payback very quickly or as soon as possible, end quote. This means that hundreds of thousands of government employees will be paid for the first time in weeks, but there still is no exact date as to when they will receive their pay. National parks and monuments that were shut down will also be reopening soon. Discussions regarding the potential wall between Mexico and the United States will continue between Democrat and Republican legislators. If no agreement is reached by February 16th, it is a possibility that the government could shut down again.
5 are dead and 2 are hospitalized after a plane crashed into a home in Yorba Linda, California, near Los Angeles. The pilot, 75 years old retired Chicago police officer Antonio Pastini, was the only passenger in the small plane when it appeared to, quote, break apart in the sky, unquote. Viewers on the ground said they witnessed the plane burst into flames and then rain down debris. Moments later, the plane crashed into a home, killing a family of 4 inside watching the Super Bowl. 2 males and 2 females were confirmed dead, as well as the pilot. Videos taken by neighbors at the scene of the crash show debris falling from the plane scattered in the streets and in backyards, with many parts of the wreckage still on fire. Officials still aren't sure what caused the crash, but are working with the National Transportation Safety Board, along with Cessna and the company that built the plane's engines, to investigate.
The New England Patriots cemented their dynasty Sunday in Atlanta, beating the Los Angeles Rams 13-3 in Super Bowl 53. It is the Patriots' unprecedented 6th Super Bowl championship since the year 2000. In a matchup that pitted 2 of the league's most explosive offenses opposite one another, it was the 2 defenses that stood out. Bill Belichick's New England unit held the Rams' high-flying attack to just 260 total yards, with quarterback Jared Goff throwing for only 229 yards and an interception. This suffocating defense was key because on the other side of the ball, New England quarterback Tom Brady struggled against a spectacular Los Angeles defense, completing just 21 passes for 262 yards and no touchdowns. Brady leaned on slot receiver Julian Edelman heavily throughout, and he was more than up for the challenge, catching 10 balls for 141 yards en route to Super Bowl MVP honors. It was a bitter pill to swallow for offensive mastermind Sean McVay, as his unit tied the record for the fewest points ever in a Super Bowl game. It was also tough for viewers sitting through the snooze fest, which obtained the infamous honor of becoming the lowest scoring Super Bowl ever, at just 16 total points scored.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back with some international news.
When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke.
I'm Paul George, and I want you to spot a stroke fast.
F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911.
Protect the ones you love.
Spot a stroke fast.
Well, Thomas, you've got prediabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have prediabetes. Big time.
Got to the University of Michigan, I went to Festival.
I first got involved on campus through an organization called ALMA, which stands for Assisting Latinos to Maximize Achievement.
My RA in East Quad. She invited me to join the Residence Halls Association.
I first got involved on campus actually at orientation, researching when I actually did my admissions process at the University of Michigan and saw that there was something called the Michigan Learning Communities.
My friend, she was the president of Noir Fashion Show.
I actually am the founder of the organization that I'm representing.
It all really happened just because I was kind of following, well, this is cliche, but I mean, I was following my heart.
Welcome back to Newsfeed. Now it's time for international news. Mohammed bin Zayed invited Pope Francis to visit the United Arab Emirates for 3 days for the Year of Tolerance. Prince El Zayed is the first Muslim ruler to ever invite a pope to visit. The visit includes a welcome ceremony, a private meeting with the Muslim Council of Elders, an interreligious meeting, and a farewell ceremony. Pope Francis is also going to hold a Mass for a crowd of over 120,000 people, and the day of the Mass has been declared a holiday so that people are able to attend. The Pope gave a speech where he mentioned a sexual abuse scandal and current conflicts in Yemen. Pope Francis wrote in the palace's Book of Honor, thanking El Zayed for the warm welcome and divine blessings of peace. The Pope's visit is also in hopes of gaining the ability to construct churches in the Middle East, which is the goal of the Vatican. The Pope leaves Abu Dhabi on February 5th, 2019.
Devastating floods have begun to wreak havoc on Queensland, Australia, forcing thousands of residents out of their homes. The floods have caused snakes and crocodiles to wash up in residential areas, and authorities have warned residents to beware of reptiles amid the floodwaters. Queensland's Environment Minister Leanne Enoch says, quote, crocodiles may be seen crossing roads and warns that snakes are very good swimmers and they too might turn up unexpectedly, end quote. The floods are said to be caused by a record-breaking heat wave that hit all of Australia in January, reaching temperatures up to 116 degrees Fahrenheit. The disastrous flood has generated over 1,000 calls to emergency workers and the Army, who have resorted to using boats and helicopters to transport residents to higher ground. Authorities are calling this flood, quote, once in a century, end quote, and say that damaging strong winds and more heavy rainfall is expected within the coming days.
Islamic militants have taken bold actions in Somalia recently, shooting and killing a senior manager running the port of Bosaso in the region Puntland, as well as taking credit for a car bomb killing at least 11 in Mogadishu. A shopkeeper, Mohammed Hussein Aliye, witnessed the explosion and said, quote, it was a normal day for us. I saw a man who parked his car, and after 20 minutes it exploded. I was pushed to the wall. I thought I was dead, end quote. These killings will most likely set back attempts to attract investment to a poverty-stricken and violent country.
1 in 4 students in the College of Engineering are female. This striking statistic leads us into this week's Wolverine Profile. Lauren Guido sits down with Christina Britsky, a sophomore studying chemical engineering, to discuss her experience as a woman in a male-dominated college. Let's take a look.
There's this thing that they brought up, this concept in, I think, Engineering 101, about imposter syndrome, which is like the feeling that you feel like a fraud or you don't belong, or like you're kind of there on some fluke and like you're gonna be exposed, and you know, it's just like you shouldn't be there. Like I remember when they said that in Engineering 100, I was just kind of like, that's how I feel right now. Sometimes you enter a classroom or a lecture hall of 140 people and there's maybe like 30 other girls. And it's not like anyone says anything. It's nothing explicit. You just automatically feel a little left out because you are different. Academics are actually a little bit affected by being the only girl in engineering, I think. And I think that just comes with like your confidence starts to waver sometimes. In my differential equations class, I was in a group with 4 guys for our lab project. And I feel like everyone was just kind of like ignoring my ideas, and it was like I just felt like I was kind of being drowned out whenever I was trying to say something, and it was getting kind of frustrating. But I was finally like, we started talking about the exam we just got back, and I remember I beat the next person by 15%, and then they started taking me seriously. But it's just like another little hurdle, and it's just, and so it's not a constant thing, but it does come up, and when you do, you feel kind of inadequate. I think just like society as a whole just needs to keep encouraging girls into science and engineering. Just the range of possibilities you can do with those technical skills that you're developing, it's unfathomable, honestly. It's so much.
Thank you to Newsfeed reporters Angelina Breedy and David Woodruff for their aid in the reporting of this piece. Well, that's all we have for you tonight. I'm Caroline Parkinson.
And I'm David Woodruff.
And you've just been Newsfed.